With Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
All right, we're back here live on Radio Row. We're just about wrapping up here on this Friday afternoon. We've had a lot of guests come through and hang out with us. We have yet another guest. Everyone knows who this guy is. Eric Metcalf, former NFL three-time All-Pro. Say that one more time. Three-time All-Pro and three-time Pro Bowl, two-time All-Pro running back, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good, and it should have been more, man. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's a fact.
They kept giving me an alternate.
Yeah, man. You're the host of the Dog Check on the Believe Podcast Network. What exactly is the Dog Check?
It's like a podcast. Like you said, Believe Podcast Network. I get to talk all things Cleveland Browns, and it's cool because they get it from my perspective, and some good, some bad.
Really?
And I get to shoot from the hip because my experience as a player is different than fans, and so when we're talking about what's going on in these games and what I think should happen in these games, it's different because I was actually out there doing it. So I know if a player should have really extended for that ball to get knocked out or not.
Right.
Or I know how it feels as to why he wouldn't do it or why he would do it. And so it's different. And I like that fans listen. I don't know if they believe it, but they listen because especially when you talk about a fan base in Cleveland,
right?
They're loyal. They're loyal at a fault.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys understand that because they think they know everything about football. Everyone's a GM. Everyone's a coach. Everybody's a quarterback. Everybody's a receiver. Everybody's everything on that football field. But what they really are people watching it on TV or sitting in the stands. So it's different. And I try to bring the knowledge from being a player to them.
Now, I want to start there with Cleveland because that's what your podcast is about. And I know you know Cleveland through and through, right? So let's start with the quarterback.
I knew it was coming.
Baker Mayfield, man. I want to get your thoughts. And you don't have to sugarcoat anything here with us, man. Just get your thoughts on Baker and can he get them to where they need to be?
Well, he can get them to where they need to be. I mean, last year proved that if everything goes right, Baker can be a good football player with that roster. With that roster on paper, these guys could have been playing here this weekend.
Right. Should have been. I had them picked for it.
I picked them to go 13-4 with that roster on paper. But you got to remember, you got to get in between those white lines.
Exactly.
Now, is he a franchise quarterback? No, he is not. He's not.
Okay.
But then again, you look in the NFL, there's probably only 8 of those.
I was going to say, there's not that many.
There's not that many of those guys. So you just need someone in that position who's going to play smart, winning football and complete passes that need to be completed. Have a few game-winning plays. Because sometimes you're going to have to go out there and throw it 35 times a game to win it. And you don't have to do it all the time.
Right.
But he could do it. He actually did it 2 seasons ago a couple of times, but it just didn't happen this year. And like you say, obviously he was hurt. But if you're hurt, don't go play.
Exactly. Now, looking at how the roster was, you had the two-headed monster in running backs, and then you also had, when he was there, OBJ on one side, and you had Jarvis Landry on the other, and a few other mixes in between there. And on defense, you guys had some dogs, right? So with that roster, like you said, they should have won, but do you feel like that OBJ deal with his dad doing all that, do you feel like that kind of did some stuff in the locker room that kind of turned the season to where it ended how it did?
Well, I think it was already headed that way anyway.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really think about the locker room as far as how it went. I mean, they were losing at the time, so that's I think about it how OBJ would think about it because I played on a Cleveland team that went 11-5, went to the playoffs, and won a playoff game, and still asked to be traded after that season because I wasn't getting the ball.
Right.
As a competitor, you want the ball. You want to be able to go out there and contribute to your team success, and he wasn't getting that opportunity this year, and they're losing.
Right.
So of course he's going to want to be out of there when everyone's saying he's washed up. He's a bad teammate. It's his fault, not the quarterback's fault. But isn't it funny how he comes here now? He's making game-winning plays, and
you see that,
though. And everyone is saying he's so great as a teammate here, and it's.
I was gonna say you see it all. You see it. Like you said, you don't have to sugarcoat nothing, but we understand what that means when you can't say what you want to say.
No, I can say what I want. I just don't like the fact that they turned on him when he's a good player. We know he is.
Yeah,
exactly.
We know he's one of the
Yeah.
top receivers in this league, and he can go make plays if given the opportunity. So I put this whole thing, ownership, coaching, and other players. I put it on everyone because I mean, in when I say OBJ, he's frustrated. So yes, it's his fault because he's
Okay.
frustrated. He's showing it in his attitude. He's not going out there and playing all out. That's his fault.
So was that move calculated?
You get, come on, man.
Yeah. You know, I prefer that.
Come on, man. All right, come on. Like I just told you, I've been on 11-5 team and I asked to be traded.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
All right, so looking at the AFC, where does this Browns team like rank in your eyes with the AFC?
Is everyone healthy?
Everyone's healthy.
Yeah,
If everyone's healthy, where would they
Clean
rank
slate.
right now, like with their current roster?
Everywhere in the AFC, everybody's healthy. What you got?
Right now, everyone healthy. We're fourth. I have to say we're fourth because I'm not counting Mike Tomlin out. He just
Okay.
doesn't lose. He doesn't know how to
Yeah.
lose. He's never lost.
Okay.
He's
Right.
never had a losing
Yeah.
season ever.
Mhm.
So I'm not counting him out. Everyone's healthy. So Lamar
He's a problem.
Is the
He's a
man.
problem.
All right.
He's the man.
All right.
He's the
Yeah.
X factor. And then
Okay.
what this young Bengals team is doing,
Okay.
they're showing up when it's time to show up.
Okay.
And you have the Browns who don't show up when it's time to show up. I mean, they played good football from time to time, but they're not consistent in all three phases. And so they have to get better. And so in the beginning of the year, they come here to LA, they play the Chargers, and they lose 48-43 or something like that. And
Yeah.
everybody wants to fire the defensive coordinator. Towards the end of the year, you could barely score on them
Mhm.
because these guys have finally started playing together
Mhm.
when they had 8 or 9 new starters.
Exactly.
So that's tough.
Yeah.
What we thought was going to be special is the offense, and they did absolutely nothing.
It's tough. It's
And so-
tough.
All these teams that we just mentioned before in the division, their offenses are straight.
Okay.
We don't have one that's straight. We got to right now. We're banking on our defense to hold those offenses to
Mhm.
17 points.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be able to score. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, I feel like Baker Mayfield, he wasn't able to do what he needed to do, which is score the ball and lead the team.
Right.
There were some of those outside distractions, the stuff that happened, with I don't know if his girlfriend, wife, or whatever. But it was a lot of outside noise that I felt like got to him.
Right. And and that's the problem because that means your focus isn't where it's supposed to be.
Right.
Let's stop worrying about social media. Go out there and do what has to be done in between those white lines. If you win, you never hear those bad things.
Exactly.
I do TV in Cleveland, and people they asked me one time, "Do you remember the fans booing?" I said, "Not me." I
don't know what y'all hear, but
I've never been booed. No,
Yeah.
because I went out there and did my job. Of course, I've fumbled. Of course, I've dropped a ball, had some bad plays, but because what I've done in totality, everyone's forgot that.
Exactly.
So if you continue to get better and play good football for you, whatever city it is, they'll love you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I like how you left the Bills, Chiefs, and the Chargers off of that top four.
Oh, he was just talking about the AFC
Not
North.
On the whole AFC. Okay.
No.
Whoa.
That's
Come
yeah.
what Steve asked, but he was talking about the AFC.
Yeah, I think I had missed that part because I'm like, wow, he left those teams off. But yeah, how do you think? I can't even say in the entire AFC. But what do you think that they need to really get over that hump? I mean, of course, the quarterback. But what are you thinking as far as like defense and then maybe specialty positions?
I think defensively, the biggest thing is retaining Jadeveon Clowney.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one thing for me. That's what I would
Mhm.
say. I think the defense played well towards the end of the year. They were giving them, like I said, maybe 17 points a game, which it should be winning football
Yes.
if you have a good offense. Offensively, we want to win football games. Turn around and hand it to number 24.
Yes.
It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our running game is solid with Kareem and Nick and even Dearness when he comes in the game. We have 3
Yeah.
all pros or Pro Bowlers on our offensive line. Our offensive line is one of the best in the league.
Right.
Run the football. Stop passing the ball 35 times a game. You don't have to because
Yes.
when you pass the ball, 3 things happen and 2 of them are bad.
Right.
I was just
Right? And 2
Right.
of them
That's
are
an old
bad.
football.
Right.
That's an old
Right.
football
And 2 of them are
adage
bad.
right
So you
there.
got
yeah.
you just turn around and hand it off. We played Green Bay. Nick Chubb gets the ball 4 times in the first half or something like that. He's the
Yeah,
third
that
leading
was
rusher in the league.
Mhm.
Run the ball.
Yeah, and that's what even I'm a Eagles fan, and that's what frustrated me with Andy Reid in Philly, and also what frustrates Chiefs fans now is really abandoning that run and
Why
not
you looking at
controlling
me,
the
though?
tempo of the game because
Why you looking at me?
You know,
he threw
you
his
know.
hands up, but he knew where I was going with that. And even just looking at the NFL as a whole, moving towards a more exciting passing league. But yeah, I definitely think teams need to draw back on that, trying to throw 30 and 40 times a game to really push the offense, because I think controlling that tempo of the game, especially with the run game when it's effective, can definitely win those games and keep, opposing quarterbacks like Lamar, like Patrick, and
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen,
Justin Herbert.
and Justin Herbert is a name I was looking for, and really keep them off the field.
I mean, just passing is sexy.
It is.
Right.
But if that's your MO, that's your MO. That's what you do.
If that's what you do, but that's not really winning football. I mean,
Yeah.
let's think about, say, Tampa Bay last year. They look at Tom Brady, they say he's throwing the ball all over the yard, but they didn't start winning that Super Bowl until they started running the ball.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
started running the ball. Even in New England, he passed the ball 50 times a game, but it's short passes. So basically, it's extension of the run.
West
Yeah.
Coast
Right?
offense,
Right.
shorter
It
passes,
was, they're not
quick
trying to go
hits.
down the field and be all cute like all these new offenses. They just want to pass the ball every down.
Makes
Third
sense.
and 2, they throw the ball.
And
Why? It's done. Run the football. Football is won in the trenches.
Definitely.
I said you need a Dre. You need a defensive line and you need an offensive
Right.
line. That's the base of a football team. Is those five offensive linemen, 4 or 3 defensive linemen. If you have those and they're elite, the rest of your football team is going to take care of itself, because skill position players, not that they're dime a dozen, it's just you can fill in at places. It's hard to fill in an offensive line when your left tackle is hurt, as we saw last
Right.
year at the Super Bowl. Like Pat didn't have an offensive line; he was running for his life. So
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about passing the game, it's just so many variables that have to go right.
exactly.
Yeah.
You have to block. You have to be able to protect the quarterback. He has to make a good pass. The receiver has
Have
to
to
get off the
catch.
jam and run a good route, and then he has to catch it.
And then not fumble the ball,
Right.
retain the ball
Retain-
all the way.
Retain
to-
the ball. So
Listen, if that's where your money is spent, and
Yeah.
tight end, wide receiver, quarterback, that's where you got. I mean, that's what you got to do. If
are we referring to something specific?
we referring to the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, that's what y'all talking about.
No, I
So,
wanna interview you.
Let's be real, Steve. When we saw McKinnon getting the ball in the playoff game, the
Yeah.
Chiefs' offense looked unstoppable, and
It
it's
was
because
electrifying.
of Pat and the fact that he's so elite. But it's just when you add that factor, it's just like the offense is just so much smoother than when
Mhm.
you're going back and you're throwing the ball 40 times, and there's all those chances of stuff going wrong, and then it all adds up, and then it comes to a head at the end of the game when you throw a game-losing interception.
yeah, I agree.
It's-
I agree.
It's tough.
Look,
Though. It is tough.
when McKinnon started, look, in the first half, he was getting 7-8 yards touch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then
Easily.
they in second half it just kind of flipped and turned away from it. So, I mean, I felt like they should have run it, but you still got to go with your playmakers. You get down there and you put 5 wide at the end of the game. And you had to put a running back there, but at least go to Travis Kelce. At least
Yeah.
he's your playmaker. You have to.
Yeah.
See, I don't know what you're talking about. Because my playmaker is number 24.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't got them problems.
You can put all the receivers out there that you want. You can put them in alignment. Just turn around and hand the ball to number 24.
I got you.
Just
I
give
got
me
you.
the ball. I was like,
Got
but we won't do it. So we're the reverse of what you're talking about.
I got
right?
you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Definitely.
So where can people find your podcast?
The Believe Network. BelievePodcast.com.
Okay.
So we're on there, and you can find the dog check I might tell you a few lies until you catch me. It's true.
All right, folks. That was Eric Metcalf. We appreciate you for joining us today, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.